Trismegistus: The Ultimate Formula is a dice drafting and action selection game from publisher Board & Dice, in which 1 to 4 players compete to earn the most points and become the most renowned alchemist. The game is played over 3 rounds. In each round, players will select from a pool of available dice and then use those dice to perform actions such as transmutations, gathering materials, and acquiring powerful artifacts. At the end of the 3rd round, points are tallied based on the experiments you've completed, the publications you've published, and a number of other criteria. With those ingredients laid out, let's discuss 5 things we liked and 2 things we didn't about Trismegistus. In Trismegistus, the dice you draft govern the actions you can take. At the beginning of each round, dice are rolled and separated according to which of the elements are shown on their face. Then, when you select a die, the potency, or the number of actions it imparts to you, is based on the number of dice in that particular elemental pool. Since the available elements are random, flexibility and opportunism are key. Pick too many low-potency dice, and you'll find yourself overwhelmed by opponents who can simply take more actions than you. You might be wondering why you would ever take a die from a smaller pool if actions matter so much. The answer lies in the multifaceted nature of the dice. Almost every action in the game is related to either a die's color or its face. Performing transmutations requires a specific color of dice, from the black at the low end to the red for the more advanced transmutations. Likewise, the elemental face determines what material, essence, and/or experiment cards you can acquire with each of your actions. These elements, no pun intended, really make the dice drafting feel fundamental and compelling. If you can't acquire the dice you need, never fear. That's because Trismegistus has an excellent reaction system. This allows players to perform a limited number of actions per round based on their opponent's dice. By spending a reaction, you can acquire much needed materials or perform that one transmutation that enables the rest of your strategy. Furthermore, this mechanic feels very well supported, as there are several ways to recharge your reactions or to earn more throughout the course of the game. And it's also pretty predictable since you can see the dice that your opponents have on their potency tracks. One interesting thing about Trismegistus is that each player is taking on the specific role of a historical figure with unique formulas that they can acquire through various means. These formulas, and the Philosopher's Stone vault into which they are placed, can inform and direct your strategy, especially during the early stages of the game. Playing a character whose formulas give a lot of free transmutations? Make sure to stock up on materials and essences. These variable player powers help ensure that each player has a somewhat distinct path to victory. Several components of the game, most notably experiments, involve the 4 elements: earth, air, water, and fire. As you examine the experiments and become more familiar with them, certain patterns start to emerge. Earth experiments often grant large amounts of materials when they are completed, while fire experiments often simply give you the most points for your input. It's a subtle thing, but having that consistency among the elements helps the game feel grounded and complete. As we always say, however, no game is perfect, and there are a few things that we didn't like about Trismegistus. Publications are one of the key ways that players will score points at the end of the game. Each gives points based on certain parameters that you've achieved, and each has to be paid for using elemental symbols earned from conducting experiments, collecting artifacts, or advancing on the mastery tracks. Unfortunately, the cost to activate a publication can be prohibitively high, especially in a game where you're fighting for every elemental symbol you earn. While removing them entirely seems like a bad idea, one solution might be to make each symbol usable for more than one publication, making it almost like a threshold rather than paying for each symbol. While we love the multivariable aspect of the dice, not everything needs to be tied to that mechanic. Artifacts are the perfect examples of this. Acquiring an artifact is by far the most expensive action in the game. It requires 3 potency for a single artifact, when the maximum potency is 5. On top of that, making it so that each color of die can only acquire 1 of 2 of the 6 available artifacts seems unnecessarily prohibitive given the cost. Similarly, though less egregious, purchasing experiments would be much simpler if they weren't tied to the 5 different elements, and instead were simply available for purchase in a single row. So, there you have it. That's 5 things we liked and 2 things we didn't about Trismegistus. We've played this several times on stream, so if you're interested in seeing more about the mechanics we've discussed here, head over to our secondary YouTube channel, Dragon's Demise Plays, to find those videos. As always, thank you so much to our patrons on Patreon who really help us keep going. In particular, thank you to our Greater Wyrm patrons, Casey, Carissa, Sam, and Hunter. You guys are awesome and really appreciate that you support us. And of course, thank you all for watching. Hope that you enjoyed the video, and let us know in the comments what you think of this game. Are you interested? Is this something that you like? And be sure to like and subscribe for more videos like this.